someone whom we have seen as a gangster also, as a lead actor, a romantic boy as well, became caged in a box of comedy genre.
Bollywood will always be very, very revered, and it'll always be a very, very strong force in our country because it's part of our culture to go and watch movies in the theater from many, many decades. अदरवाइज पहले हम ट्राई कर लेते थे कि चलो किसी अच्छे हीरो की फिल्म है, पहले देख लेते, देख के आते हैं, अच्छी होगी बुरी होगी बाद में देखा जाएगा. अभी लेकिन हम वेट करते हैं या फिर ट्रेलर की बेसिस पे जाते हैं. We are very, very careful. हमको घर से बाहर निकलनी unless we really want to go out and watch a movie.
You have Tusshar Entertainment, but in the family you have Balaji also. Why having a separate franchise for yourself? Why not join the family business?
Like my acting career, I wanted to be launched by my family production house. I had made it very clear to my parents and my sister when I came back to India in 99. And now so people come and tell me we were childhood fans of yours, and we were very young when we saw Golmaal 20 years back. क्योंकि 20 साल होने वाले पहले पार्ट को. So now whoever I meet, they're like हम बचपन से गोलमाल देखते आ रहे हैं. I, ooh, oh, what, oon, e, ah, ow, ooh.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching yet another episode of Spill the Beans here on CNN News 18 with me, Sakshi Litoriya. Present with me is our very special guest for the day, Tusshar Kapoor. Woot woot! Hi Tushar, thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18.
My pleasure. Hi Sakshi, nice to speak to you.
So Tushar, first up, I am really curious to know about this angle of double S in your name and your son's name as well. What's the catch behind double S in your name and then Lakshya's name as well?
My family believes in numerology. So when I was joining the film industry, I was advised by one of their numerologists to add an S to my name, and I did it. So I'm not a very, very staunch believer, but I'm not a disbeliever either. Let's put it that way. So I just went with their advice, and my son's name, though, I think everybody now, when their child is born, I think it's the norm to get the numerology aspect sorted out even before you name the child. So that was my sister's responsibility, and she chose the right numerologically correct name for him, and we were very happy because we liked the word Laksh, and then it was spelled with an extra S, which is fine with me. That's it.
Beautiful. Now let's talk about the filmography part. Ever since you began, ever since you were critically acclaimed, Tushar, I really want to ask you when exactly it happened that Tushar Kapoor, someone whom we have seen as a gangster also, as a lead actor, a romantic boy as well, became caged in a box of comedy genre.
I don't know. I think it just naturally happened, and the film industry is known to be safe. And I've been one of the few fortunate ones to be able to get out of my comfort zone time and again, like for Shootout or for Dirty Picture or Shore in the City or Khaki. But by and large, I think Golmaal is very, very synonymous with me. And I'm most popularly known for that character. So I would like to believe that that is why I have been a little boxed with comedy, but no complaints, no regrets, because that franchise and the other comedies that I've done, they've given me so much. And I'm sure if there's a sequel to a comedy like Dhol or Kya Khule Hum, I'm sure people will like to see me in those also, even though they're comic, but a little different from Golmaal. So never say never. And 10 June Ki Raat is out, and it's got a mix of everything: romance, comedy, action, drama, thrill. So you have to keep experimenting. You have to keep getting yourself out there in different avatars and just enjoy the process. It's okay to be caged, and it's our job to get out of that cage and try and explore. Yeah.
And if I could ask you, what were your initial thoughts when you got to know about this changing trend in the entertainment industry, specifically after COVID, from going to big screens, to big theaters, to now getting, in the compact screen, comfortable at your space on the OTT platforms? Because we know Ekta ji is the queen of television industry, of course, the Balaji. Then now from big films, you have also come to the OTT platforms. How do you think of this changing trend in the entertainment industry, though?
Well, it was quite sudden. I mean, OTT was always there even before the pandemic, but with the pandemic, I think the viewership patterns
Mm.
have shifted a lot. People are watching movies in their theaters. They were waiting to for the theaters to open, and then they
Mm.
got so habituated to watching films at home and watching content at home that a certain section of the audiences is now reluctant to go and watch a movie in the theater unless they're really, really keen, or if it's a holiday and if it's something that really pulls them into the theater, something that's
Mm.
really eye catching and really, really a must watch
Mm.
cinematic experience. It's only then that they go and watch. While there is the loyal following of cinema viewership that still goes and watches regularly. So
Mm.
it's been like a changing pattern of cinema audience viewership, which a lot of people I think adapted to instantly. I think those who caught on to that OTT bandwagon immediately and understood that okay, their movies have to be released on OTT. Thank God I released my film Lakshmi on OTT because otherwise I would have had to wait for 2 years. And
Mm.
I did. I mean, I'm doing Darjun Ki Raat now, but we all, matlab, like there was another film of mine, Marich, which didn't release on OTT, and then it had to come out in cinemas at a very bad time and in a very bad way because nobody was watching movies in cinemas at that point of time, so we couldn't promote it, etc. So some of us, so in certain ways, we understood this hybrid model and we adapted to it, and in some ways, a lot of us have hurt ourselves also in the bargain by trying to be very adventurous and go out and release your film in the
Mm.
theaters. But now
Mm.
I think the industry is understanding this new world that we're in, and they are making films specifically for OTT or specifically for the cinema. And we understand that difference now better than before. In between, there was a lot of chaos in those 3 4 years.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody will be able to answer this question saying that okay, this is how I see this changing
Mm.
pattern, because we all were kind of getting confused and trying to understand we क्या करना चाहिए अपनी फिल्मों के साथ, यहाँ जाए
Mm.
कि वहाँ जाए,
बिल्कुल
and
unpredictable. Exactly.
yeah, and now I think we're beginning to understand that it's important to get your movie out there, whether it's an OTT or whether it's in the
Mm.
cinema. That
Mm.
doesn't matter. You can get validation in both places.
Hmm. I would really want to ask my next question from the perspective of someone who is associated with Tushar Entertainment, because now this is the question that I asked Anupam ji also a couple of days ago when he was here in our studio. This is something that filmmakers, the producers also, are very reluctant in releasing the big pictures in theaters nowadays, even if it has a good story and good potential to perform really well with the audience. But they are not doing, since you have already mentioned the unpredictability with the audience's taste nowadays, whether they will watch it or not, because we have this huge star cast for a couple of movies coming out with a lot of promotional activities, but then again flopping at the box offices. Where do you think Bollywood is lacking in today's era? Because people on social media are quite vocal about Bollywood losing its charm.
Uh, I don't think there is losing its charm. Bollywood will always be very, very revered, and it'll always be a very, very strong force in our country because it's part of our culture to go and watch movies in the theater from many, many decades. And wo hamare khoon mein, that will not go. The
Mhm.
craze for actors, the craze for Bollywood movies, all that, it will still be there. It's just that uh, it's the audience has become very picky. The audience has become very, very selective about the movies they want to watch in the theaters. And the OTT platforms are not purchasing movies unless you have had a cinematic release. So everyone has to go into the cinemas to release their movies.
Mhm.
And like always, some movies work, some movies don't work. That's fine. That's part of the game. It's a learning process, it's a constant evolving process. So I don't think Bollywood is losing its charm. Some years are good, some years are not so good. It's just that it's become a little extreme. Like some movies are doing extremely well and some movies are not doing well at all. If they
Mhm.
want to watch a film, then and if you get a good weekend, then your movie will definitely work. Even if it's a little okay movie, because the people are already wanting to watch it. But if they don't want to watch it, nobody just there's no thing as the word of mouth thing is. I mean, that default
Yeah.
audience that goes and watches a movie every Friday, no matter what, that is not really there right now. Right now,
Mhm.
everybody's watching a movie that they really want to watch. अदरवाइज पहले हम ट्राई कर लेते थे कि चलो किसी अच्छे हीरो की फिल्म है
देख के
पहले
आते हैं।
देख देख लेते देख के आते हैं,
हम्म।
अच्छी होगी बुरी होगी बाद में देखा जाएगा। अभी लेकिन हम वेट करते हैं या फिर ट्रेलर के बेसिस पे जाते हैं, वी आर
Mhm.
वेरी वेरी केयरफुल, हमको घर से बाहर निकलना नहीं अनलेस वी रियली वांट टू गो आउट एंड वॉच अ मूवी। सो वो एक रिस्क है, इसलिए थोड़ा
Mhm.
एक्सट्रीम हो गया है, बिजनेस इज गोइंग अ लिटिल एक्सट्रीम, बट जब चलती है पिक्चर तो बहुत ज्यादा चलती है।
Mhm.
तो वो
Mhm.
सिनेमा का मतलब वो चार्म नहीं गया है, इट्स स्टिल देयर। इट्स दैट वो आदत थोड़ी चली गई है कि हम
Okay.
मतलब बार-बार देखने जाते थे पहले, वो हम अभी थोड़ा जाते हैं, और जब
Mhm.
जाते हैं तो ज़रूर जाते हैं, इट्स लाइक दैट।
Mhm. सो वेयर डू यू थिंक कहाँ एक्सपेरिमेंट करना चाहिए फॉर द मूवी मेकर्स पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ क्रॉस कि कहाँ चेंजेस ला सकते हैं कि लोगों का जो वो भरोसा है कि चलो अगर एक अच्छा एक्टर है या एक एक्टर है जिसने पास्ट में हमें काफी अच्छे प्रोजेक्ट्स दिए हुए हैं वी शुड ट्राई देयर न्यू प्रोजेक्ट और देयर न्यू एडवेंचर एज वेल
No one has a formula. Nobody knows that, everyone has to try their best. We all have to work hard. We all have to give our best. Sometimes, certain things get missed on the way, and that's human. That's part of the game, and that's part of filmmaking. So, nobody has the right answer कि ये करना चाहिए अभी आपको, मतलब this is how the industry should move forward. And I'm no one to advise anybody. I'm learning myself every day, and it's just about we have to keep working hard. We have to keep adapting to the changing audience tastes, keep rebooting ourselves, as actors, as producers, as directors, and just keep your fingers crossed, work hard, and leave the rest to the audiences and God. That's all I can say. I know it's a very vague answer, but yes, it's very difficult catching the pulse of the audience now. And my mantra has always been entertainment. An entertaining film will always work. An entertaining film, given the right release, like if it's the right number of screens or if it's the right weekend, an entertaining film will always work. So entertainment is my mantra. And that formula never goes wrong. No matter 50 years earlier, 50 years later, that will always be there. Obviously, the packaging has to change, and we have to adapt to newer audiences and keep reinventing ourselves. But yeah, entertainment will always be in vogue.
Hmm. And let's circle back to Golmaal, the absolute iconic franchise that you have been part of for all of the series. I really want to ask you when you first got the script and you got to know that you will be playing the role of a mute person, did it sort of attack your self confidence that, I have done so many good projects and that too an array of characters? I have not just been boxed in certain type of role. I have done so many experiments in the past. Why are you giving me somebody who doesn't have like that, but then of course Lucky became part of our life. He became the most iconic character in that franchise. But initially when you received the script, what were the thoughts?
Initially, when I received the script, of course, I was a bit apprehensive that, in a multi-star comedy film, I won't have any dialogues. And I had just done Kya Cool Hai Hum, which had dialogues and dialogues.
Yeah.
So that, so that was, it was a bit, I was a bit apprehensive at first, but of course, the project was it was a very big project with
Mhm.
good actors and um great actor director team of Ajay Devgan and Rohit Shetty, which I wanted to be a part of. And of course, like I said earlier, I didn't know what was going to work about that character and what was not going to work. You never know. You never have that answer beforehand. So I had to take that leap of faith, and I just worked hard, and I gave full marks and all the credit to my director, who had that confidence and faith in my rehearsals and my workshop that I was doing. That he gave me a free hand to take this character the way I wanted to take it, and I think the rest is history. I mean, the character was accepted. So the apprehension is very important. It's very important to be scared. Ki, will this work or not? It's new. It's out of my comfort zone. When you're doing that, no, you can tell yourself you're doing something right, because when you're out of your comfort zone, you give your best, and that's when the fear factor is what makes you work harder and makes you do something out of the ordinary.
Hmm.
So that's I think what worked for this character. Yeah.
And out of all the characters that you have played so far during your filmography, which one has been the closest and the most iconic for Tushar Kapoor? Closer to the heart.
I think my first film is very close to my heart because it was a very big hit and it was a solo hero project of mine,
Mhm.
and uh, I very typical hero's character with a lot of shades to it, and it was very similar to my personality of an introvert at that point of time. So it worked for me. That is very close to my character, to my heart, and of course the other films that are close to my heart, the other characters, the Golmaal franchise and Khaki, I would say, is very close to my heart.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's really nice. This is something that I'm again curious about, Tushar, that you have Tushar Entertainment, but in the family you have Balaji also. Why
Mhm.
having a separate franchise for yourself? Why not
Uh,
joining the family business?
I think uh, the family business is there. It's already established, the film production house. And like my acting career, I never wanted to be launched by my family production house. I had made it very clear to my parents and my sister when I came back to India in 99 that I will
Mhm.
get launched on my own. I had this really strong wish, like a true American, to be very honest, that I want to get my first job on my own. I want to be self-made, and that's why I waited for the right break, and I got this break from Vashu Bhagnani ji and Satish Kaushik ji. So I took
Mhm.
it up, and even in the film production side, when I wanted to make my first movie, I said that let me make a name for myself as a producer first. You know, if
Mhm.
I make it under my banner, then it'll be like, "Arey, ghar ki baat hai." You know, maybe he's not doing anything; it's all being done for him, and his name is being put there. You don't get
Mhm.
that same credit for it because I worked very hard for Lakshmi. Shabina
Mhm.
and myself, we were co-producers, and we worked very hard for it, and which is why we wanted our individual name to be established first. It's like now everything is about the universe, right? So I think in our family now we can have like a universe of two production houses. Maybe after 5 years, then say, okay, maybe they should merge and make a movie together. It'll seem even bigger. But yeah, that's. I think it's important to stand on your own 2 feet. It's important to be independent. Atmanirbhar. That's very important. That was my reason to do this.
Very beautifully put over there. Also, if I could ask you at your down moments, who is, the advisor at the house, somebody that you can go to and talk to that, I really want your advice at this point of time. I can really use your expertise. Who is that one person in the family?
See, like in the beginning of my career, I think my father's experience is was very useful. Though I never really took his advice at that point of time.
Uh-huh.
I did my own thing, made my own mistakes. But today, when I look back, I realize that his experience could have come very handy because he was trying to guide me to do more work and more films because I used to get a lot of offers at that point of time, and I was
Hmm.
very choosy. So I could have been a little more liberal and done a little more films. So those are the things that I think I've learned from him and his career as an actor. And otherwise, I don't take anybody's advice. I think in life, I think times change. You know, we know what we go through as individuals. We know how it is to make it in this world of movies, and it's important to listen to your inner voice and understand where you've gone wrong and what is the next step that needs to be taken.
Hmm.
It's something that you yourself can really guide yourself to do and repair something that needs to be repaired. I don't think anybody can advise you. I think moral support के लिए friends हो सकते हैं, family हो सकती है, they can, but it does that really help? At the end of the day, I think we have to heal our own wounds, right? I think when we are a little disappointed or a little low, eventually when we realize that it's important to stand up and try again, that's something that comes from within. Yeah, it for me it's been like that. And I think I don't really share my down moments with anybody because then it just what they're going to tell you. They are a it's a typical
You will
thing.
get
It's your
better.
At
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's your own internal conflict that has to be resolved. So
Hmm.
I look at it that way.
Hmm. And let's talk about your book as well, because you have very beautifully mentioned the challenges of a single father in an Orthodox society like that of India. When you took this decision for yourself, I would
Mhm.
really want you, for those who have not read your book, to tell that how things have now gotten better, if they have, and what were the challenges that you had to face when you finally decided to, go through the process.
uh at that point I felt like a complete newbie in this world uh,
Parenthood.
of single parenting, in the sense, even before I embarked on the procedures to become a single father, I was obviously a little nervous, and of course, I was excited. I took it in good faith and in belief that my doctor is guiding me well, and she did the best that she could do for me, and everything has really worked out well, and I'm very happy having taken that step. And I've learned parenting along the way, read a lot, and I felt like it was just the right for me to become a parent. And I've really slipped into this role very smoothly, and it's really worked out well for me as far as my life and my time management and my work and work personal life balance is concerned. I have basically found my true calling as a single parent as far
Hmm.
as starting a family is concerned. So I won't say there have been any struggles or challenges. Of course, it was a bit scary initially, because you're changing your life and entering a completely new phase and doing it so differently, so unconventionally. What are going to be the repercussions? So I've written about all these factors, about how did I meet the doctors, what was my thoughts before I met the doctor? Why did I think about this drastic step? How did I go about it? What were my apprehensions? How was the first day like when I became a father? How has it been thereafter? How was it in the pandemic? I've written about all that in this book called Bachelor Dad. If you want, I can
Hmm.
bring it in the interview and show it to the viewers if they want to. But they can buy, they can order it on Amazon, and it's also available on Kindle. I think that's what it's called. To read it, you can read it
Yeah.
online. It's
Kindle, yeah.
available on Kindle. Yeah.
Hmm. So is Tushar Kapoor a BTS fan now?
A BTS fan.
Yeah.
Uh, my son was a BTS fan when he was 4 5 years old. He
That's
was a
why I
huge.
asked that. Has he made you a BTS fan now? A full
No. I have not been a BTS fan. I mean, uh, he was an amazing BTS fan, and he was a diehard BTS fan, and he's also grown out of it. Now he's just into football. So I get my knowledge about football from my son,
Hmm.
and BTS. No, me, I never got into that bandwagon. I used to be a fan of. I mean, I'm a fan. I listen to a lot of American music, and I like a lot of the American pop music, but
Hmm.
never been a BTS fan. Though.
Hmm. Tell us a little bit about 10 June ki Raat. Can we expect another part coming out as well?
Yeah, of course, there will be more seasons. This is chapter two is out, and I think the plot thickens in chapter two. Chapter one is basically it talks about Panotti, this is the main character that I'm playing. He
Yes.
and his relationship with this girl Poppy, and how he's trying to solve the mystery of this theater called Menka. Menka ka Raaz kya hai? Where
Hmm.
everything changed for himself. His life changed when this theater shut down when he was growing up as a child,
Hmm.
and he lost his father, and so then his name became Panotti. So he wants to unravel that whole mystery about Menka.
Hmm.
And as he begins to unravel, there are more struggles because he's such a panauti that मतलब वो थिएटर का जो उस पर जो यू कैन से एक काला
Impact.
साया लगा हुआ है, वो उसे गिराता रहता है और वो उसके प्लान को फ्लॉप बनाता रहता है, but then he's not willing to give up and he wants to find out the truth behind this
Hmm.
theater, और theater खोलना ही है उसे. So in the second part, now the next 12 episodes that are out, it's all about uh, what happens along the way, and there are murders and there's a murder mystery, and what has it got to do with his father's death many years back, and what has it all got to do with the theater, and who is doing these murders, and of course there is a khulasa at the end of this chapter. So a lot of drama, a lot of masala, that's what it's in store. And then of course when chapter 3 comes, we'll talk about that then.
And what's the scoop on next part of Golmaal as well, since Rohit Shetty has already dropped the hint?
Uh, I have no idea. I think Rohit ji only will be able to answer this question. I hope it happens soon, and fingers crossed. And people are waiting. Let's see what Rohit ji decides.
I
It's all
think
up
it's
to him.
inevitable. Tushar, it has to happen. Like the entire Indian audience that we were just speaking of, they will go to watch that iconic project. We have grown with Golmaal over the
I know
years.
you. That now the people come and tell me you are a childhood. We were childhood fans of yours, and we were very young when we saw Golmaal 20 years back. क्योंकि अभी 20 साल होने वाले हैं पहली part को. तो
Mhm.
so now whoever I meet, they're like हम बचपन से गोलमाल देखते आ रहे हैं. So I feel very old, but ठीक है. I think that's a good thing that they have grown up watching it. That means गोलमाल will never be outdated because newer generation जैसे वो बच्चे पैदा होंगे वो गोलमाल 1 से start करके देखना शुरू कर देंगे,
Hmm.
and they'll become fans by the time the next part comes.
Definitely. And I cannot let you go. We have reached the conclusion of the interview, but I know this is like overused. People would have told you ample of times to say anything in, lucky ka andaz thoda sa. So for us as well, if you could do that.
I, ooh, oh, what, at, un, I, ow, ow, ooh, You go and watch Dal June Ki Raat now, chapter 2.
Yay, lovely, Tushar. It was a very good chat. Hope to see you really soon. Maybe in person next time, hopefully here in Delhi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sakshi. It was lovely chatting to you, chatting with you.